next day. It's highly quantitative. You take a sample and you make calculations and predict that that Congress or UPA will get so many seats. That's quantitative research. Qualitative research is more things like this. What I told you about. It's more to do with. So remember, those of you who want to get into quantitative research will have to be very strong in numbers. Those of you who wish to get into quality research have to have a very good reading habit. Right? Do you have a knowledge on a wide cross section of topics? Because what happens is the respondent is talking to you, you should be able to catch cues, correlate it, and then identify what they need. Right? So that's what listening and observing is. Right. So I'll give you another classic example of how you identify needs and wants. Familiar with Rolex watches? I mean, if you see Wimbledon, you'll see the scoreboard back. Rolex. See, the Rolex channel had conducted a survey, and after the survey, a journalist came and asked him, "What do you think of the watch market?" So he said, "I have no idea." So the journalist said, maybe he has not heard the question, so he repeated the question, "How is the watch market these days?" He says, "I have no idea." So the journalist said, "Aren't you chairman of Rolex?" He said, "Yeah." "And you have no clue about the watch market?" He said, "No." Because the person who is planning to buy Rolex is not considering another watch. He is considering a vacation in the Bahamas or a expensive Persian carpet. So if you ask me about the market for expensive Persian carpets or vacation in the Bahamas, I have the data on my fingertips because they happen to be mine. Alright, so insights also is to do with, because remember, not only do you have to identify needs and wants, you have to do it better than you have a very good idea who your competition is. Competition, right? Better than competition. My handwriting is terrible, so you will again doing this. So you have to identify needs and wants better than competition. And remember, this is where you have to be. You should not be myopic. Remember, a train is a competitor to a plane. In one way. Why? What is the need or want they satisfy? So if somebody is willing to pay more for quicker transport, he chooses a plane, but they're still competing forms of transport. Right, so you've identified the needs and wants, then comes the bit in identify the needs or wants. Your next step is converting this into a value proposition. This is the role of who? Who is the person who does this? No, who in the organization? Who in the manufacturing? This is the role of the marketing team. The difference between sales and marketing is marketing does with this. In marketing, one of the critical roles is played by what is called the brand manager, also known as product manager. So you get all this information. So coming back to the fair and handsome example, the market research or the consumer insights team picks up the fact that men also are fair. And the brand manager has to sit, as you said, with the manufacturer and work out a proposition. Not only a product meets that requirements, but also a method of what is called, so therefore your key word here is converted into value proposition. The jargon for this is position. So what is the positioning? If I asked you, Maggi noodles What comes to your mind? That's the position. That's the position which has been created in your mind, which means it's fast to cook. It'll take you 2 minutes to cook. So therefore, remember, Maggi means many things. Maggi is a noodle, etc., etc. There are many things you could say. But what the brand manager and the marketing team has done is, over a period of 20 years, have drilled in a uniform message in our mind. That's the objective of a brand manager, to create a position. And the position is a value proposition. Right? The position is. On the other hand, Maggi ketchup is what?
It's different.
Different. Have they elaborated the exact nature of difference? It says it's different. Because in reality, sometimes, remember, sometimes you will be stuck with a product like a ketchup. You can't differentiate it. What is a ketchup? 80% Daddu, 20% rotten tomato. Bottle, beautiful label is there, Maggi, right? You see the Maggi label and say, wow, so tasty it is. So understand, therefore, that sometimes you may have to create a position not based on tangible grounds, but on. Right? Now, this is the most challenging part. Converting this into a value proposition, that's the role of the brand manager. Now, so you have understood that consumers, or many consumers, want to be fair. So you sit down with your production team and say, can you design a cream to make men's skin fair? You develop the product. Now the question is, so you're ready with the product. You're ready with its packaging. You're ready with everything. But you and your team know about what this product is. Now comes the next job of communicating this to the public at large. Right? And that's the third arm of marketing. What is this arm called? Don't say advertising. Advertising is one part of it. IMC is integrated marketing communication. Right? Remember, advertising has many parts. You could be running an ad on TV, which is advertising. You could be running an ad on a hoarding. Like if you look at Amul, all the memorable campaigns of Amul are actually on the hoardings. So that's a medium. Right? So understand, therefore, IMC is integrated marketing communication and includes the most important evolving media, which is Web 2.0. What does that include? Facebook, Twitter, social media. See, today's brands have to have a presence in social media. Because remember, your generation more than ours lives on that media. Right? So understand, therefore, so you've converted that into a value proposition. Next part comes the communication. And while communicating, you have two branches. What am I trying to say? That's the medium. And how am I transmitting this to my audience, which is called communication. So remember, this part normally does not recruit MBAs, because this is a creative one. Yes, you're an MBA who has creativity, right? But by and large, here they use graphic designers, JJ School of Art, copywriters who are good with the language. There are many MBAs who graduated to this because they're good with writing. But remember, right? So understand, therefore, so you've converted that into a value proposition. Next part comes the communication. And while communicating, you have two branches. to say? That's the medium. And how am I transmitting this to my audience, which is called the message. So remember, this part normally does not recruit MBAs because this is a creative one. Yes, you're an MBA who has creativity, right? But by and large, here they use graphic designers, JJ School of Art, copywriters who are good with the language. There are many MBAs who graduated to this because they're good with writing. But remember, the MBA is superfluous. The core skill is, are you able to write properly? Are you able to visualize properly? They're called visualizers, creative directors, etc., etc., etc. So this has to do with the message. The second, for example, the Amul ads. The Amul ads, the man was Bharat Dabolkar, who started this whole idea of those puns, so if you look at Amul ads, some of the most memorable ads which I have seen have been from Amul. And the one perhaps which is the most memorable is 1986, when that's the time Amul really came to the forefront. 1986, so you're all from Calcutta, who won the World Cup football? Argentina. And who was the one-man army there? So that's the time when, after they won the World Cup, came this beautiful cartoon of Amul. Marat hona, to aisa hona, right? Basically it's a pun on the word Maradona, right? So at this time that some of you may have that creative spark, I don't, most people don't have it. And after 2 years of MBA, whatever creativity has will be done with number crunching. So therefore, don't count on a job in the message part. The medium part, yes. What is the profession called? Or what are the two professions which are happening? One is called the media planner. And the second is called the digital marketer. Alright? So you have companies like Maxus, which actually you have companies like Madison, which are media buying companies. So you basically try and get the best deal for your client and also work out the best direct marketing campaign in terms of the digital.
Sir?
Yes?
Firms like Leo Burnett, Sachin Sachi, where do they come?
They actually focus more on this, but most IMC, like if you take Mudra or Sachi and Sachi or Leo Chetra, Leo Burnett as you mentioned, they're integrated IMC houses. Right? Some of them, they give you the message part as well as the medium part. But there are some houses who specialize only in medium. Example being Madison. Madison is not a message. It won't create an advertising campaign. It will help you place it in. So they are the ones who are able to see. It's a function of size. For example, every time you watch IPL, remember, if you and me go and ask for a slot in IPL, the rates we will be charged will be about 4 times higher than what Madison gets. For a very simple reason that Madison buys for 15 companies including Levers, Procter & Gamble, HP, IIT perhaps. So therefore you have the whole lot which is there. So you get a much larger buy-in in terms of you have more money to spend. So Mudra, CLB are all IMC agencies, what were earlier called advertising agencies.
They need education.
But they do. But see what happens is, since you mentioned it, now converting this into a value proposition, right? Which is what? The brand manager says, this is what I have to say. When you are doing this interface with the ad agency, somebody from the ad agency has to be there who understands the marketing side of it. So that's what is called the client service. Right? It's a good point you raised. So therefore, CLB, Mudra, Flintas will have sort of marketing people there who act as an interface, because this guy, the creative guy, has a beard and comes into office at all odd hours and today has a bad mood, he says I'm going to work. Right? So now obviously the client is not going to interact with him. The client servicing guy sits, remember in any marketing discussion, 3 people will sit. The market research guy who tells you what the consumer wants. The advertising guy is supposed to make sense of what is there. Right? See, remember, have the best positioning platform, right? But unless the customer understands it, it is useless. I'll give you an example. Have you seen the ad of Volkswagen Jetta? The older one, they stopped it. I'll describe the ad for you. It consists of a valet parking attendant, very pompous looking valet parking attendant, and then a car comes. So he opens the back door and waits. Nobody comes up. When he surprises him from the front, the man comes out, throws him the key, and the ad ends there. Volkswagen Jetta, Dash Auto. Right? Now, what's he trying to say? You want to drive the car yourself. Why? Sheer driving pleasure. Right? Any other? Any other interpretation of this ad?
You don't need company.
Sorry?
So it's a driver's car.
So it's sheer driving pleasure. Then?
You love the car so much you don't need company.
Okay. And?
Look of the car is such that outside people will be thinking of a person who will be sitting at the back.
So you can't afford a chauffeur. जितना महंगा है लेकिन है नहीं. So you can't afford a chauffeur. Now I don't know what they wanted to communicate, but both are parallelly opposite positions, completely different. On the one hand, you want to give a luxurious drive, etc. I don't want to be with anyone. I'll just drive myself. And here it says, the other positioning is looking like a Mercedes is an M. Right? Basically, I can't afford a chauffeur, so therefore, when it's basically to understand, you have to be very careful. There is many a slip between the cup and the lip. You may have a wonderful position. So all of us in this room arrive at a positioning, great, but we are not consumers, no? What are consumers? So they are in the market. So that, to ensure that there is no gap, no communication gap, you have to ensure that your message, like in the case of the Maggi, is very clear. 2 minutes. That has been distilled in your head. So the simplicity of the message is important. And a lot of, believe me, it is very difficult to make things simple. Very, very difficult. Because human beings love to make simple things complicated. That is our natural and our. The simpler it is, make it as complicated as you can. So, jargon. We love using jargon. Why? Because others, it is a method of telling the others, Gada hai, I know more than you. I know this word which you don't know the meaning of. Right? So that's the whole problem. So remember, the other thing is, there are other challenges. It's very easy for us to say communicate. I've just written one word, communicate. What's the difference between a consumer and a customer? What's the difference between a consumer and a customer? We use these two words interchangeably. What's the difference?
Sir, consumer is a prospect of the people that buy that person. Customer is the
Consumer is?
the normal
Abnormal one.
the arm market that we see. That buy
So JRD Tata is not a consumer.
these kind of
Moral of the story, use words which are simple. So you are started complicated. Then what is a consumer? Khatam. Over. Consumer is somebody who uses the product. And the customer? Simple definition, not complicated. Customer buys, consumer consumes. Eats, whatever, eats, applies. Now, God forbid, you are stuck with a product where the consumer wants something and the customer wants something else. Take Maggi noodles. Who is the customer? The mother, the housewife. Who is the consumer? The kids. What does the mother want? Nutrition, health. If I give those children 20 adjectives or what you want in a noodles, 19th and 20th will be health and nutrition. They want taste, they want spice, they want everything else, which the mother does not want. So then what happens? You have to scratch your head and then come up with atta noodles. Right? That's why I'm here for. Or do it the smart way. Like a common sight in all homes of India, just before school, would be the mother with a glass of Complan, running behind the child who is running in the opposite direction at 60 kilometers per hour because I don't want Complan. Right? So what is Complan? It is healthy, it is nutritious, and tastes young. Right? So what did Complan do? And what does it do? They told boys and girls, because they checked in the thing that even girls want. You need a volunteer. Somebody who has a bath. Who has a bath? Bath. Very good. So I found at least one person who bathes here. No? Sit down. No need. Tell me all the, nobody prompt him. I want you to tell me all the brands of toilet soaps you're aware of. Not detergents, unless you. Tell me the brands of toilet soaps you're aware of. Dettol. Lifebuoy. Johnson. Oh, baby soap. No prompting. Not bad. 5. 6 all. There are about 35. There are about 35 national. Now, which will you buy? Which soap are you using now? You claim you are bathing, so I'm asking. Which soap are you using now? Okay. So now, there are 35 soaps we are aware of, all of us. And if I start rattling off the names, have you heard of Synthol? Have you heard of Lifebuoy? Have you heard of Lux? Have you heard of Santu? Have you heard of Medimix? Have you heard of Aramas? So 35. 35 brands, all of us are aware of. But we buy one. And the challenge of this guy is to ensure I am the one. Right? So remember, you have to ensure that the deliverable is very simple, right product, at the right place, at the right time, the right quality. That becomes deliverable. Remember, you may have, there are different types of products. Let's take colas. Let's take toffees. Now what's common to colas and toffees? Other than the fact that they are bad for health and sweet. How do you buy?
Plastic packaging.
I mean, what is your thought process when you buy? Do you sit down and say that today is Saturday, on Monday at 4 o'clock, let us all assemble and buy a toffee? So how do you buy a toffee? You buy an impulse. When mood hits you, you buy. So what is the implication on distribution? Wherever impulse strikes you, I have to be available. Understand? That is why Coca-Cola, their worldwide distribution policy is be available at arm's length of desire. Whenever desire strikes you, you have to go. So understand, therefore, that is why when you have products such as this, the product has to be available. Remember, when you go to a shop, some products strike your eye. Which are these? That is because of your inclination, but I'm saying, forget the category. What normally strikes you? The one which is visible?
Yeah, that's what
Visible, right? Exactly. So therefore, for categories such as this, visibility and availability are critical, particularly for what are called FMCGs or fast moving consumables. That is why there is a saying in English, eye level is equal to buy level. And the Hindi translation of that is jo dikhta hai. Please remember, don't make the mistake of saying that applies for all products. That applies only for products such as FMCG. For example, I see a Mercedes every day. वो दिखता है. बिल्कुल नहीं दिखता है. So what applies for this will not necessarily apply for another set of products. Right? This has happened. Now, within this, some companies decided that there is a huge market. There is a huge market by which, if we are large, buy goods in bulk from manufacturers, we can make it available at lower prices to the end consumer. What is this business called? Modern trade, modern retail. The Walmarts, the Spencers of the world, the Shoppers Stop. This is modern retail, the modern trade. Right? So you have Shoppers Stop, Pantaloons. Right? These are a part of the placement. But there are companies which have come forward and said, okay, like Walmart. Walmart is famous for going to the source, buying it, and making it available at a price which nobody else can match. Right? Remember, if you are buying a Cadbury's chocolate, it's the same. Cadbury's chocolate is same whether it's available in Walmart or the Kirana store. If it's available at 7 rupees, this is available at 6 rupees. What will you buy? Right? The one which is 6 rupees. So that's the whole game of. Now, many manufacturers.
Mostly their price is very high, and overall on their bill also is lots of tax to pay.
Good point you raised. See, remember, first and foremost, the actual in India, the concession on FMCG does not come through because we have a MRP regime. India has a regime called MRP. You understand MRP? Retail. But what the Pantaloons of the world and the Big Bazaar of the world do is to give you schemes, right? Discounts. And remember, as you correctly pointed out, if you look at retail, the real discounts are not on FMCG. Where are the real discounts? And clothes, sugar, they are the commodities or staples, atta, loose towel.
No, even on that, that's very costly over there. I compared it many a time.
Yeah, you remember that?
Because I parallelly go to
Okay. Then you can make a lot of money. You know why? Big Bazaar has that double the contest. If you can actually produce.
Oh, yeah.
But you raised a valid point. One of the problems we have in India is,
And plus the tax to the end of the
see, these people, whom do they compete with? And that is why we are having a session on FDI. I don't want to infringe on that. What is the biggest challenge for modern retailers? Who is he competing with? The traditional mom and pop stores? Traditional? Do they pay rent? Do they pay electricity? Do they pay taxes? Kuch nahi. Right? So that is one of the biggest challenges modern trade have in life. All over the world, mom and pop stores, whether it's Vietnam, whether it's Indonesia, countries which are similar to us in terms of per capita income, they have survived many because of this. Now, also, some companies decided that, you understand what is meant by forward integration? Which means I start having my own showrooms. Right? Have you seen World of Titan? Sony World? The only brands available are brands of Titan in the first case and Sony in the. So therefore many corporates have ensured that they have moved into retailing themselves. Understand that modern trade is in the Indian context. Once FDI and retail comes in, there will be a huge number of job opportunities which will emerge in this particular sector. And they will come across different For example, location, layout. So if you look at a retail store, there are specialists who decide on the location. Right? The location itself can make such a big difference of the store. There are specialists on layout. Supposing I asked you, there's a hypermarket, right? You have a hypermarket. Where will you keep the food and groceries? Where will you locate the food and groceries?
Ground floor.
Ground floor and
And at the end of the room.
at the corner. Why?
You can see a range of products.
Because it's a destination category. It's a destination category. The consumer will definitely search out where food and groceries are. And remember, retail, the mantra is very simple. That is the mantra. Number of bills multiplied by average bill value. That's the mantra of modern trade. So number of bills depends on what? Location. If you are located properly, more footfalls will happen. If there are more footfalls, you can convert them into. What does average bill value depend upon?
Number of
Assortment. Good. And so what does it depend on? How much is, supposing you have two stores with identical assortment, who will have a better average bill value?
So the
The
localization.
layout. No, see, that's very simple. Where have I kept the food and groceries? So the housewife gets that trolley. So you have to navigate her. You have to navigate her across all those destinations where she comes across impulse categories. So the more impulse items are there, see if you notice the checkout counter. What else is kept there? So you are idle, waiting for your turn. Right? Oh, things where why toys? Because Munna sits in the front. Right? Only Munna sitting in the front. I want that. So, that comes into the basket, so your ABV goes up. So understand therefore that NOB is ABV. So therefore, you have people for layout, and believe me, companies like Walmart, it's a complete science. They track movements. Like you have seen those cricket, they show that pitch map, no? The ball pitch. Like that, there's a pitch map for them. And where all did the customer move? So which are the what are called golden eye? Where is the eye going? So what is the normal path taken by the consumer? So the path taken is natural now because you go subconsciously, no? You go subconsciously where we go. So tracking that will give you insights into where your location is. So this retail trade has another set of specialists which enter the picture. Okay. Now, once you have made your sale, let me ask you a question. In terms of buying, how is a soap different from a credit card? In terms of buying, how is the purchase of a soap different from a credit card? Give me some differences. First, limited. Let's supposing it's for you. I'm asking for you as a person. When you buy a soap and when you buy a credit card, what is the major difference?
Soap is a necessity.
For you, credit card will also become necessary. Or let me ask you, mobile handset. Now it's better. Mobile connection, and what is the difference? And correct, and very good. Any other difference?
For credit card, the company's respectability will be the main issue.
Yeah, that's a research you need. But in terms of buying, there's one, all of what you said is correct, there's one more big difference. After you have purchased the soap, the transaction ends. End of transaction. But when you buy an insurance policy or a credit card or a mobile postpaid connection, your relationship starts. It starts with that transaction. In fact, the transaction will be free, but it will start. So understand, therefore, post-purchase. So when you have products like mobile phones or mobile connections, we have credit cards, insurance, to a lesser extent even consumer durables such as televisions, and so there is an element of. So therefore, there is a post-sales what is the discipline called? What is this branch of marketing called? It was called services earlier. It's called customer relationship. Now, take this, take the mobile and example. CRM becomes very critical in certain sectors. For example, take the handset, customer relationship management. Customer relationship management. Now, I'll give you examples of CRM. I'll give you the example. Let's assume that I have a prepaid connection. I have a prepaid connection and I have a dual SIM. A prepaid connection and dual SIM. Why does the consumer have a prepaid connection? Why do you have a dual SIM? Sorry? No, I am very clever. I see which is the better deal on. So wherever the better deal is on, I'll put that on, and the other one I'll put it off. Now remember, let's assume that I put the Airtel on right now and Vodafone off. When I put my mobile off, Vodafone gets heartbeats. Band kar diya isne. So if he closes it, his meter stops. So what does Vodafone do? It keeps track of all my when did I switch it off. Then it tries to correlate why did I switch it off. And therefore, should I modify my schemes? Should I have a better scheme? Because remember, for me, I need your handset on. I need your handset on and working. The mobile phone companies are very clever. They invented something called Indian Idol, which is mass hypnotism. मैंने टोपी पहना है, how to make multiple people wear topis. What have they done? None of us have figured it out. Vote for your favorites. Multiple SMS is permitted. More SMS you spend, the more will be counted to the credit of. So, who is laughing all the way to the bank? So you send 35 SMSs, you're very happy with yourself. 105 rupees been debited, 3 rupees per SMS. Sunil Bharti is very happy. बहुत बढ़िया है. 5 रुपए per customer. So understand therefore that if your handset is off. Similarly, when you are 30, even if you don't want to, you will have 5 credit cards. Right? Even if you don't want to, you will have 5 credit cards. Then comes the second problem. Which do you use? Which don't you use? And therefore the credit card company tracks you. How much was my usage? How do I increase my usage? All of this comes under CRM. All of you who go have visited Spencer's or Big Bazaar, they will have their card. Right? Card which gives you some discounts and this, that, and the other. Now, we buy the card very happily and we get discounts. And what do we do in the bargain?
Buy more.
And
Spend more.
And
Be happy.
and leave a trail. Leave a trail of what we have purchased. That information is captured by the retailer. So So he has your loyalty card number, bill number. So he will analyze and say, "Acha, Falana person only buys Colgate toothpaste." Very good, very good. Or this person buys only so much shampoo, and he buys shampoo only if the size is more than 150 ml. And this information, very often, the marketers use for targeting. They use it for targeting, so therefore, you will, by looking at your, how many of you have a Gmail account? Sorry, how many of you don't have a Gmail account? Now, if you delete a message on Gmail, Gmail gets very angry. Have you noticed? It tells you, why delete when you have so many gigabytes of... Why are you deleting messages? Why is Google unhappy? Or Google gussa kyun aata hai? Why is Google unhappy that you have deleted the message? Because our mails are dead. Not the human being, by an algorithm. Right? If I have 2,000 mails written by you, I can know more about you, what you are, what you do, what are your hobbies, what kind of people you hang around with, and how do you spend your money. If I have only 5 messages, I can't provide. That is why Gmail is very upset that flash box mein dal ke bula dete hu to gaali deta hai. Why have you removed? Now I used to teach at XLRI in 2009. I stopped teaching because of the Maoist problem there, so there was a problem of the train journeys. But I've been using Gmail since 2005, and Gmail in its record has recorded the fact that this fellow who teaches in Jamshedpur, and he comes to Jamshedpur, he's a visitor. So even now, when there is a new restaurant opened in Dhakkidi in Jamshedpur, there will be an ad in the right. Because the whole see, what is Gmail? What is Google? What company is Google? It's an advertising agency. It is the world's largest digital advertising agency. Search engine is an excuse. Google Maps is an excuse. Output is an excuse. Everything is an excuse to get eyeballs. Everything is an excuse to say that you inhabit that area and see it. Therefore, I will be able to maximize my advertising revenue. So understand, therefore, that the next job which comes from this, from CRM, it's a necessary forward of CRM, is there is a requirement. There is a requirement for trained people who have access to a lot of data and can actually convert this data into knowledge. What is the branch called? Data analytics. Here you have to be good with stats, good with numbers, and in data analytics, there are different kinds of analytics. For example, there's telecom analytics, there's retail analytics. So when you do retail analytics, you'll be given gigantic databases of how consumers behave. And you're supposed to establish patterns and therefore give clues to the company as to how you should go forward with this particular exercise. Right? This is an emerging science. This is also a nascent science. But this is the science which I think will have plenty of opportunities. And by the time you all graduate, roughly in 2 years' time, data analytics will actually be, see, I'll tell you examples of how data analytics is being used to give you an idea. In the US, we have this Thanksgiving Day, which is big for shopping. It's very big for shopping. And if you're a retailer, Thanksgiving Day is very important because a lot of sales can happen. And you're constantly worried that, do I underestimate? Right? Remember, if I'm talking about the company called Target. Target is a retail group. Now Target has something like 5,000 SKUs. You understand what is meant by SKU? Stock keeping units. Right? So stock keeping unit. Now remember, if I have Clinic shampoo in 100 ml, that is one SKU. And I have Clinic shampoo in 50 ml, that's another SKU. And I have a Clinic sachet, that's a third SKU. They are different SKUs. So remember, I have to predict what my demand will be for 1,000 products, maybe more. So therefore, firstly I have to know what is the kind of traffic which comes. And Tata was the first company to use what is called big data. You have companies which track Facebook and Twitter. Right? Now Facebook is a beautiful invention. It's a beautiful invention because it recognizes, it's a classic need identifier. Because it notices or it recognizes that every human being, in each of us, there lie two emotions. One of a narcissist. Who is a narcissist? I love to show off. So when somebody says me in front of Eiffel Tower, what is he trying to tell you? I went to France. Okay. I went to Paris and I was in front of the Eiffel Tower. So that's one half first. And every human being lacks a second half, curiosity. Right? So for every person who says me in front of Eiffel Tower, 15 others, chop, he was in front of Eiffel Tower. That's the basis of a wonderful relationship. You have the same human being has two parts. So the first, he puts a post, feels very happy that everybody is going to like it, and then goes to many other posts and likes it and observes what others are doing. Because if you see some of the posts happening recently, there is a person who says, this is what I had for lunch. And it's a Facebook post. It's a Facebook post on what I had for lunch. And 50 like. 50 people have liked it about what that person had for. So understand that Facebook and Americans live on Facebook as much as us. So from Facebook and Twitter, they figured out who were the respondents who were planning big shopping. Because you advertise it. I'm planning to buy a stereo today, right? So therefore, so you have given an inkling on what. So therefore, I then track the locations where he's from, and then the stores which that person is likely to visit, and therefore ensure my stocking patterns, security, infrastructure is all geared up for this purpose. Right? So remember the hit and miss. And also remember one more thing. In your generation, more than ours, our generation, we didn't have enough information. We were a generation starved of information. Your generation will have enough information and wonder what the hell to do with it. Your generation has to grapple with this uncertainty of how and what to do regarding this. Now, the other sequence which works on this is one level of what marketing is. The other is across verticals, right? For example, you may have FMCG as a vertical. You may have B2B or IT marketing as another vertical. Now remember one thing, the more it is an FMCG, the more these two are equally important. But remember, when you have an IT product or a highly technical product, sometimes the value proposition is easier to get. And therefore the sales becomes more critical, or the skill of the salesman is different. Right? Remember, if I am State Bank of India buying a core banking solution for my bank, the person who comes from the company to convince me has to be very persuasive. But have any of you seen a Hindustan Lever salesman selling a soap? No, it doesn't matter. It's not the soap which matters, but it's not the salesman who matters, but the brand in question on whether it's been able to convince you. So any questions, any queries on anything we wish to ask on?
So what is B2B?
B2B is business to business. So you have B2C, business to business. So when I'm selling to you and me, that's a business to consumer, we are the buyers. But supposing I am selling desktops to be purchased by Tata Steel. So the end user is a business itself. So that's why it's called a B2B. Yeah.
So marketing and operations are mostly cloud. So
Okay.
like I see many of the operations part of the So basically, if I'm running for operations, what are the things I need to do?
See, marketing has interfaces with everything. Let me just clarify that first. This piece has a huge overlap with supply chain and operations. One. At this level, there is a huge overlap with finance. See, when I first joined as area sales manager in Kisan Products Limited, which was part of UP, my whole job was to ensure that my stock rotates quickly. So I have to calculate inventory carrying cost, warehousing cost. So there's a lot of accounting interface which is there. So don't think, it's very important for all of you who join MBA. Don't think that I'm a marketing person, so I should be blind to everything else, or I'm an operations guy, so I have to be blind to everything. No. At this level, in sales, even here, a lot of your time comes in mentoring and coaching, which is HR. You're dealing with human beings. At the end of the day, if you can't deal with human beings, right? Don't do MBA. Right? Whether you like it or not, all the professions you have, and the one where you will have to work together with teams. So if you're bad with people, start getting better now. Starting now, right? There's no call for delay. So there is overlap in all cases. So whether it's in operations, if you look at supply chain, there's a huge overlap.
But basically in operations, like.
What should you know about marketing?
No. What I should know about operations.
I can get that. Your question is, I'm taking a session on marketing. What are you asking about?
Marketing overlap with.
Oh, with operations. Okay. See, here the overlap will mainly be in inventory carrying, warehousing. Okay. There's a thing called bullwhip. Bullwhip effect. Just read up on bullwhip. B-U-L-L-W-H-I.
The housing purpose.
No.
Increase in variance.
It's a supply chain. It's a supply chain. Read up on Google. That's another 90-minute class. Right. Any questions? Okay. Good question. What is e-commerce? Now, one of the biggest threats when I met the head of HR of Reliance Retail, I mean, Reliance Retail is, the ambitions are breathtaking. 8 years back, they gave a proposal for a loan of 25,000 crores for Reliance Retail. See, in about 15 years back, if you went with a proposal of 25,000 crores to a bank, he would have given you a one-way ticket to Kanke. One-way ticket, no question of coming back in terms of. Now 25,000 and they're opening stores left, right and center. And when I asked him, sir, how are you? Are you worried about FDI in retail? He said, I'm not worried about FDI in retail, I'm worried about damn Flipkart. Right? My bigger worry comes from Flipkart rather than, but fortunately for him, Flipkart has committed harakiri. So all retailers, e-commerce, committed e-commerce. E-commerce in India is stuttering because of a very simple reason. In one term, it is cash on delivery. Now what happens, Indians being Indians, you order something, he comes, mere ko nahi mangta. Right? Wapas le. Or this blue is not the blue I had ordered. You know. How can you match a blue seen on a screen with the, right? So, return. So now, just look at the cost you would have incurred for storing that product, giving somebody some money to come to your doorstep, and already the damn product is discounted. Right? It's a discounted product and you're spending more money. So most e-commerce companies which are selling off-the-shelf items are struggling. So when you have Jabong or you have Flipkart, the ones who are doing well are the ones who are selling branded things, like for example, happily-unmarried.com. There's a site called happily-unmarried.com. But there what happens is, the things they sell, there's no sticker price. When you buy a book, you have a basis of comparison. I can go to the Oxford store and say this is what it costs, this is how. But when you're buying a mug with some fancy things written on it, what is the price? The price becomes kind of out of the equation in terms of. So they are the ones who are somehow managing this game. And coming back to your query, the ones who will manage this game well are the brick and mortar retailers, which means the Reliance, the retails and the Spencer of the world. When they move into e-commerce or retailing, they will have it will be a marginal cost for them because they already have a warehouse, they don't have to invest in a warehouse, right? So it becomes a marginal cost. They will benefit. Right? Remember one thing, Amazon is still not broken even. So it's a long haul. It's a long haul. Right? See, profitability sometimes in a competitive market, it may take years before you start making money. Right? Any question? Any other question? Have I answered your question? Satisfactorily. Right then, so all the best for your for whatever else, for your interview starting. Huh? No, not today. I'm not talking about this interview. I'm talking about March. Next, all like make you sweat more.
Next week.
Starting next week, is it?
7th.
So, any more questions before I wind up? As I said, I'm already running behind time. So, if there are no more questions, I'll end. Right? Thank you very much.